Hello and welcome to Unacademy IAS, a one-stop destination for all the English medium civil services aspirants. The Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation has announced that they will be changing the base year as well as the methodology to calculate consumer price index or retail inflation. What are the important changes? And more importantly, what are the likely implications on the policy making? Let's decode all of this in this video. Before I start, here is a very important announcement. I know a lot of you are preparing for the CSC Prelims examination to be held in the month of May 2026. Before you attempt the final examination, here is a sincere advice to all of you. Attempt as many mocks as possible now. It will help you evaluate your stronger areas and also help you work on your weaker areas. In this regard, please attempt the Unacademy's All India UPSC Prelims mock test, which will be held on 15th February 2026. There are two slots, 9:30 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. The link for registering for this mock test is provided in the description below. Do not miss out. Let me start. Inflation is measured under two heads or in two ways. One is called as the wholesale price index and the second one is called as a consumer price index. The fundamental difference between both of them is that in the wholesale price index, we measure what is the change in the basket of commodities, basket of goods right now in the wholesale market. Whereas in the context of the CPI, which is also referred to as a retail inflation, we are simply measuring the change in the market price of the basket of goods and services at the retail level. And when I say retail level, what does it actually mean? It is a market where individuals such as you and me purchase the goods and services. The base year for the calculation of WPI right now is the 2011 and 2012. The Government of India has set up a committee to review and recommend a change in the base year for WPI. And regarding CPI, let's focus only on the CPI now because that is the one which has been announced right now. So in the context of CPI, the base year until now was the year 2012. The Minister of Statistics and Program Implementation back in the year 2015 had made the change in the base year to 2012, and now the government or the MOSPI, and specifically under MOSPI, it is the ENSO, which has announced that the base year will be changed to 2024. Now, along with the change in the base year, there are multiple other changes, important ones, that have been done by the MOSPI. What are those? Let's understand. Here is a comparative table. I'm giving you the comparison between the parameters which are applicable for the old CPI, that is with the base year of 2012, and also the new CPI with the base year of 2024. First very important change, as already mentioned, is the base year. Second very important change, the basket, right? The number of goods and services. Mind you, in CPI, the basket has goods and services. In WPI, it has only goods. Until now, and it is expected to change with the recommendations being submitted by the current committee. So second very important change, the basket had 299 items. Now under the new basket, there will be 358 items. And like I said, it has a composition that is a basket which will have both goods and services. So number of goods until now were 259. In the new basket, there will be 308 goods. And the services in the old basket were 40, and this has been increased to 50. Rather than looking and memorizing the numbers, understand the inference as well. What is the inference? Over a period of time, the incomes of the households have increased. There is no denying the average incomes have increased. With increased average incomes, you'll also see that the households have spent more and more money on food. But along with the expenditure on food being increased, you will also see the households are consuming more and more non-food items as well. And this is applicable even to the services. You are spending now compared to, let's say, a decade ago. You're spending more money on the consumption of services as well as non-food items. And that is exactly reflected in changes of the weights, changes in the composition of the basket as well. Because when you change the base year, please understand, when you change the base year, it's not just that the base year is changed and the number of commodities are changed. No, many of the commodities which are outdated, which are not consumed by the households now, will be taken out of the basket. And new products, goods or services which are consumed by the households will get added to the basket. So it's not just that the number of products have changed, the composition of the basket also has changed. Right? That is a very important inference. Now, in addition to this, what about the weightage given for food and beverages? Important. Food and beverages. In the old basket, the weightage was around 46%. Around 46%, I'm rounding off the number by the way. In the new basket, the weightage has been reduced to 36.8%. Some of you will be thinking, sir, why? Why is that the weightage has been changed? Why it has been reduced? The reason behind this is very simple. The NSO earlier conducted a survey by the name of Household Consumption Expenditure Survey. Household Consumption Expenditure Survey. And like I said earlier, when this particular survey was conducted, what was the observation? The overall expenditure, monthly per capita expenditure of the households have increased, no doubt. But along with that, out of the average expenditure incurred by the households, now there is a higher percentage of expenditure that is incurred in the non-food items as well. And that is basically represented by reducing the weightage of the food and beverage from 46% to 36.8%. Next, core inflation. Very often there's a discussion on core. What is the idea of a core? When you take the complete basket and calculate the inflation rate, calculate the changes in the price, that is called as headline. That is called as headline. But the problem is, in the headline basket, there are certain commodities whose prices are unstable, whose prices are very volatile or short-lived. Example, in case of India, food and fuel. Food and fuel. The food and fuel, the prices are very much unstable. And that is a precise reason the fluctuation in the headline inflation can also be very high because a lot of these commodities prices are unstable. But now have a look at it. In the new basket, the weightage that has been provided for food and fuel whose prices are unstable has been brought down, and the weightage that is provided for the core commodities or the core basket where the prices do not fluctuate a lot, remain stable, comparatively remain stable, the weightage for that has been increased to 58%. Compared to 47%, it has been increased to 53%. This is an important point. Make a note of it. Why, you will understand in a minute. Apart from this, one more very important change that has happened, right, is also compilation of the money that is paid for rural housing. Rent that is paid for rural housing. In the previous iteration, that is in the old base year, that is with the 2012, we did not compile the rents which are paid in the rural market. But now in the new, yes, it has been collected, right? The collection is done. Rural housing, it is collected. Now, apart from this, what are the other important changes? The weights have been updated using the household consumption expenditure survey. Yes, this is true. The movement of prices in e-commerce platform, this is another very important change. Because earlier, if you see, back in the year 2015, when the rebasing was done and the base of 2012 was selected, the purchasing of the common households or purchasing of, right, let's say the products through e-commerce website, it was not very, right, let's say very high at that point of time. But over a period of time, because of accessibility of data, cheaper data availability, the penetration of, right, telecom connectivity, the penetration of the smartphone, etc., now more and more people are using these e-commerce websites to order goods online, to purchase a lot of these things online. And accordingly, compared to earlier system where all of these price changes were not counted in the calculation of the basket. Now MOSP, that is MOSP, states that we will collect on weekly basis. On weekly basis, we will collect this particular data from 12 online market or towns which will have a population of more than 25 lakh. We will collect the data from even e-commerce or online websites. That will also be included in the calculation of the movement or the variation in the price of the basket. Another one, rural house rent, as already mentioned, online media, streaming services, etc. All of these have been included in the new basket, which will be used to calculate the retail inflation. Now, having looked at what are the important changes done, what are the likely implications of it? What are the likely implications? First one, once the inflation rate, monthly inflation rate will be published. Today it will be published, by the way, for the month of January. So once the monthly inflation rate will be published with new weightages under the new basket, the new inflation rate compared to the old inflation rate, there will be a slight increase, not too much, but a slight increase. And that is bound to happen because of different weightages provided for different commodities or the items in the basket. So variation compared to the earlier inflation rate, that is bound to happen. According to various research papers which have been published, the new inflation rate might be around 20 basis points higher compared to old inflation rate for the same month. For example, for let's say December, the actual inflation rate that has been published so far is 1.3%. If I use the new basket, it is expected to inch upwards, maybe right by 20 to 30 basis points. Now, what is the importance of this? The importance of this is, listen to me very carefully. Very recently, the monetary policy review was conducted in the month of February. And the monetary policy has held the repo rate same. And the RBI governor, or for that matter, the monetary policy committee, will take a decision regarding the interest rate looking at the inflation rate. Until now, inflation rate in the month of, or let's say in the last 6 to 7 months, or for this particular financial year, has held steady, as has been much lower. In fact, it is below 2%. From April to December, it was 1.7%. For month of December, it was 1.3%. Now with different weightages, even if the inflation moves upwards this side, that side, even if it changes, basically the idea is that RBI may not change the lending rates. RBI may continue to hold the same lending rates even in the coming days. That is the second very important implication. Interest rate changes. Okay, RBI is expected to continue to hold the lending rates, that is repo rate, at the same level. Third very important implication is, look at the long-term picture. What is the long-term picture? Whenever you talk about inflation targeting, right now under the Monetary Policy Framework Agreement, MPFA, under the Monetary Policy Framework Agreement, RBI is supposed to maintain inflation that is 4% headline CPI. Headline CPI. But there has been always a criticism, some part of criticism associated with this. And what is the criticism? If you use headline CPI, the basket includes volatile commodities, right? It includes volatile in the sense prices are volatile, food and fuel items. And when you include these kind of commodities, the prices might suddenly shoot up. Headline will go up. RBI is forced to, right, make changes in the policies. Suddenly the prices will crash, right? The headline will crash. Now again the RBI is supposed to change the policies. So rather than using headline, shift to the core. Shift to the core. That has been, right, one of the recommendations. In fact, earlier economic survey also spoke about this. Of course, it did not recommend pure core. They recommended except or excluding some of the commodities. But either ways, now look at what has been the change in terms of weightages provided for core as well as non-core items. The core weightage now has been increased. Everybody is okay? The weightage provided for the core items has been increased 47% to 58%. That is almost 3/5 of the weightage of the basket essentially is given for the commodities whose prices are very stable. With this, now the market will be much more, right, confident in the terms. It will be much more, right, let's say satisfied with more weightage being given to the core, based on which, right, or let's say most of the weightage is given to core, 3/5 of the weightage, and though the basket essentially will consist of the items which are less volatile in nature. That criticism, right, to certain extent would be addressed by this. Done. So these are certain very important implications. Now, based on the discussion, here is a question. Read the question and do let me know what is the correct answer in the comment section of the video. Consider the following statements. CPI is taken as the nominal anchor by RBI for monetary policy decisions. CPI core has a wider basket of items compared to CPI headline. CPI is published by NSO. How many of the three statements are true? Do let me know in the comment section. If you have liked the discussion, do not forget to hit the like button. If you are yet to join our YouTube channel, kindly do it right now. Thank you. Have a great day.